Hello, good evening. I'm not sure whether there are more students to join the session. Anyway, maybe we can take a few minutes to discuss anything, if you have any clarifications, because now this session is planned for discussing about the reflective journal. Actually, it is the activity, the assessment that you're getting for the continuous assessment 2. Did you all go through the PowerPoint presentation already uploaded in the LMS? I hope everyone has seen that. So I thought of discussing the same set of slides here so that it would be very clear for you. Structure of the paper. You want me to, there's no paper, I mean a structured paper as such. You will be asked to write a reflection on one of the activities, right? So if you have gone through the slide presentation, you would have seen that it's a kind of a methodical writing. So in previous years, it was given as an online assignment starting from the COVID period. But then we realized that students fall into trouble by copying other documents from other sources and submitting, so that according to our marking scheme, we give the minimum mark for such assignments. So many students fall into trouble by doing that. And some do not do this assignment when it is given in the online mode. They don't do it properly. So then we thought of giving you the opportunity to write it at the exam hall, so that we expect students to write the correct reflective journal. You sharing something just now? Yeah, no, I'm just talking. I will start sharing the PowerPoint. Let me share the PowerPoint and then tell me whether you see it or not. In the meantime, you can talk to me regarding anything. I hope you have already gone through the reflective journal PowerPoint presentation. So what I'm going to discuss is the same thing, nothing other than that. Now, do you see the screen? So I have to always look at the chat to see whether you can see it or not. Yes, madam. Okay, good. All right, then let's start and continue. So you have to bear with me. I have a kind of a bad cough from time to time. There will be disturbances. Right. Actually, this reflective journal writing is supposed to be our workshop 2, where we need to practice writing and all that. But when we do it in the online mode, it's a bit difficult. Anyway, let's try to catch up as much as possible. keys are not moving. Right, to go by the arrow. Okay, so let me start this. As I said before, I'm sure this is going to be the first experience of writing a reflective journal for many of you, right? Since you are in level 3 and 4. Otherwise, in other courses, you will find many reflective journal writings. So this session will teach you how to reflect on your learning experiences. Let's see how we are going to reflect on the learning experiences. And also, this session will be helpful for you to practice reflective thinking. Now, keep in mind, first we have to do our reflective thinking, and then only we can move on to reflective writing. Okay? So at the end, you will learn to write down your reflections. So why is it necessary to write down our reflections? The reflective thinking, we put it down into words. Why is it important? Because we can plan our activities based on our reflections. So it has like it goes both ways. We can plan our activities and we can think back and improve certain of our certain practices, right? Reflection. What does it mean? It's an activity which we do in purpose. So reflection is defined as a purposeful activity in which you analyze your own practices, skills, experiences, or responses, any of these things, in order to learn from those experiences. So by reflecting on these activities, we learn from these experiences. And what do we do finally? We try to improve. If there's anything lacking, we try to improve our practices. So it can include any kind of practices or experiences. And responses in communication, maybe in our simple day-to-day communication, we respond to people, right? In two-way communication. So sometimes after responding, we reflect on our responses. And sometimes we think, oh my God, what did I say? So that kind of reflection, right? Did I say the right thing? Did I talk in the right, did I use the right tone? That kind of feelings we get after talking sometimes, after responding. So all these reflections are important for us to learn from those experiences, right? And now here I have lined up the learning outcomes, what we are planning to achieve at the end of going through this presentation or this session. So you can clearly see them on the screen. We are going to learn the techniques of reflecting and then practice reflective thinking and learn the importance of reflective writing. And finally, we need to write reflective journals. Writing reflective journals on your learning experiences. So that would be the assessment for your CAT examination, right? So that's why I all of a sudden thought of conducting this session before the CAT exam. Right. Importance of reflection. Hold on. Something came in between. Is it disturbing you? I can see a small screen on my screen. Do you see that as well? All right. Importance of reflection. Why? What is the importance? Now we talked about experiences. So it says it is not sufficient to have an experience in order to learn. We experience things, but that experience itself is not sufficient for us to learn, right? It's just an experience. So without reflecting on this experience, it may quickly be forgotten. So we have that experience, right? If we do not do something about our experiences, we quickly forget. So that will be quickly forgotten, or its learning potential is lost. So even if while we are studying or while attending day schools and everything, we sometimes get good or bad experiences. So if we do not think deeply about them or reflect on them, we will quickly forget, right? So why is it important? Why is it important for learning? Reflection is essential to help us develop our understanding about ourselves, right? Our learning experiences, our responses to what we are learning, and to develop and continue as effective practitioners. So reflection, it is not just to think of it afterwards, but we use reflections all the time, especially in our learning situations, in order to learn through our experiences, learn through our responses, right? And to develop and continue as effective practitioners. And this is the cycle. It's a simple arrangement of three processes and three activities: plan, do, and review. In between, we need to reflect. Right. Reflective thinking usually involves these things: looking back at something, looking back at an experience, event, idea, object, or anything, and then analyze. Analyze the same thing, analyze the event or the idea. Thinking in depth, we like think deeply about it, not just pass it through, and trying to explain, often with reference to a model or theory from our subjects. So this involves reflections in relation to our learning, right? For example, unethical exposure of individuals in media. Now, when you watch TV sometimes, or when you browse through social media, sometimes we understand that certain people are unnecessarily exposed through media. Their names are divulged, their pictures are shown, right? So, as students who learn communication ethics, we know that it's not proper, right? Excuse me. So, when we come across such an incident or event, we should not just pass it through, right? We should be able to analyze whether it is good or bad, whether it is according to the ethics or not, right? So analyzing the event or idea and thinking carefully about what the event or the idea means to you and your ongoing progress as a learner. So that the example is taken from another general field, but in your day-to-day activities, you can pick examples. So from general reflections, we move on to critical reflections in learning. We reflect quite naturally in our day-to-day lives, as we said earlier, thinking about things that have happened, why they have happened, whether we handle them well, etc., as we discussed earlier. In such situations, we reflect on the events in an informal way, right? So this is how the process goes. Looking back at something, we said event or idea, and then analyzing the event or that idea, and analyzing different perspectives and try to explain. This is the exact procedure we follow in reflections. And then think carefully what the event means to you. So after analyzing carefully, we can learn through that experience and improve the practices. Okay. Now, after the session, you can again go through your slide presentation. I'm not going to record this session because of the disturbance. So now we are going to analyze why critical reflection is important for learning. We are just going to learn about it. The reflective learners will take the time to think about what they are doing and why they are doing it, to recognize where they need to develop and improve their skills. So this is the basic of it. So why is it important? Why do we need to write about this? The reflective learners will take time to think about what they are doing, not just not just in the day schools, not just going through the PowerPoints, not just submitting your lab report or assignment, but critically think about it and why they are doing it, what is the objective, and to recognize where they need to develop and improve their skills, right? So now, for example, if you take your assignment writing, most of you do the assignments in a hurry. Just to cover up the components in the CA criteria, you just submit the assignment, right? Most of the time. And then when you get the marks and when you get back the assignment with the comments, then you start reflecting on it. I could have done a better job. I could have planned this earlier and spend more time on reading and answering this question, right? That like that, if you can reflect on it and improve your practices, maybe your TMA2 would be a better one. So that is the importance of this reflection. So Cat1 and Cat2 is also same. Now, some of you who did Cat1 may have experience that you have not done the Cat1 up to your expectations. So maybe you are trying hard to do Cat2 in a better way. So like that, if you try to reflect on your activities and experiences, you can certainly improve your next step. So that is the whole purpose of this. Why is reflection writing important for learning? It's the same thing. In academia, you may be asked to formalize your reflections to show that learning is taking place. Now you are in level 3 and 4, right? So when you reach the upper levels, you need to sometimes submit certain documents to show that your learning is taking place. Maybe when you become project students, you have to show your project reports. Before that, the progress reports, to prove that you are seriously studying, right? So for this purpose, you need to provide evidence. So a reflective writing would be a good piece of writing for that. Somebody needs a description in Sinhala. Okay. Maybe let's try to do it at the end, right? For this purpose, you need to provide evidence. So I said that we have two components like reflective thinking and reflective writing. So reflective thinking is like we used to talk about our intrapersonal communication, talking to yourself. So reflective thinking is something like that. You talk to yourself and think to yourself. But in reflective writing, you put it on paper so that others can read it, see what you have done. Anything else on the chat? Right. Sometimes these are not moving. So, right. What is reflective writing? Now we move on to reflective writing from reflective thinking. So it's a contemplation of our own thoughts and opinions, just like looking at a mirror or like looking at yourself, right? Thinking about our own thoughts and opinions and actions, or what we said or what we have done, everything. Reflective writing is evidence of reflective thinking, right? So it deals with your feelings, why, how, so what, like that. Reflective writing, in reflective writing, you need to use all these question words: what happened, when, who involved, where did it happen, all those kinds of questioning we have to do in reflections. So reflective writing is more personal than other kinds of academic writing, because you are talking about your own actions, your own activities, your own thinking experiences, right? So in other academic activities, we report things, we analyze things and report that kind of. Reflective writing differs from any other academic writing because you are talking about your personal experiences. So we all think reflectively in everyday life. So if you just think of our lifestyles, we do reflections in our day-to-day life situations, but we do not normally write them. Sometimes we write certain things on our diaries, and we just sometimes keep personal notes, but depends on the persons, right? But perhaps not to the same depth as expected in the good reflective writing. What do I get on the chat everywhere? Madam, in writing lab reports, can we? Yes, that's what we are going to discuss. When writing lab reports, can we use reflective writing? But lab report, of course, they are reflective writing is something different. Now here, we are talking about the same thing. Reflective writing is more personal than other kinds of academic writing. Now, if you take, for example, as you asked, the lab report, in the lab report, we have a given format, right? So we need to follow the procedures. We have to explain the protocols, the ingredients or the things that we used, and we have to, if we take simple experiments, we need to talk about, we have to write about the experiments and the chemicals used and what happened, your observations, and then the conclusions in that way. So when you move through this slide presentation, you will see that reflective writing is a bit different, but you can write a reflection on your lab report, on your lab activity, right? You can write a reflection on your lab activity. Just tell me whether you have the same through this, right? We did that. So at this level, we need to follow several steps in reflective writing. Now let's see the way of writing the reflective journals. Now carefully go through these stages in reflective writing. First, identify the critical learning experiences. Now, as I have given here, if you think your university activities, right? We have day schools, we have lectures, workshops, lab sessions, and maybe you can think of your e-field session at the Open University. The first thing that you do is the e-field, then even that you can reflect on. Then the lectures, workshops, lab sessions, survey camps, whatever, depending on the departments that you all are attached to. They can be labs and other practicals you are doing outside, or maybe classroom work or writing, presentations, whatever. All these activities can be included, and we can write a reflection on those activities, right? Then first to identify the learning experiences. First to write a list of activities and then list the learning experiences. For each, in front of each and every activity, you can write a learning experience. So at the first day school, I didn't understand anything, right? Or at the first day school, the slides were very nice, something like that. Workshop, we just wasted time. Negative. Positive, workshop was very important for us to get hands-on experience on theoretical things. Lab session, same. Anything good or bad, you can just write in front of your activity, right? Even about this session, you can write a reflection. Then list the learning experiences. Briefly describe each learning experience. So while describing, you can put those comments. Then choose one significant experience for detailed analysis. So if you are asked to write a reflective journal about any of your learning experiences, so out of the list, you can choose one experience, detailed and this uh, 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 read what was the effect on you. The lesson was not clear to you. What did you learn from that experience? If you do not read in advance, you find it difficult to understand. So what did you do to improve your performance? So that was day school 1. So before day school 2, you learn to read the material, right? So that is a basic kind of reflection. So example of basic reflective writing. So I have taken this from a reference, although it says basic, it has advanced English, right? Now, while others go through this, let me give a brief description in Sinhala, because one student had asked about it. Now we are talking about reflective writing. මේක මේ reflective writing කියලා අපි කියන්නේ reflective writing එකට හරිම සිංහල term එකක් දාන්න මට දැන්ට මතක නැහැ. අපි මේ කියන්නේ අපි කරන activities ගැන. දැන් අපි academic environment එකක් ගැන කතා කරන්නේ. එතකොට අපි ඒව ගැන ආපහු හිතලා බලලා අපේ activities improve කරන්නේ කොහොමද? දැන් අපි introduction එකේ නම් කිව්වා අපි එදිනෙදා ජීවිතේත් මොන හරි කරන වැඩ ගැන හැම වෙලේම රිෆ්ලෙක්ට් කර කර තමයි ඉන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ ආපස්සට හිතන එක තමයි මේ රිෆ්ලෙක්ට් කරනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් අර මිරර් ඉමේජ් එකකින් එන ෆීඩ්බැක් එක වගේ එකක් තමයි. කියන්නේ මම කරපු වැඩේ ගැන මම හිතපුවාම මට කොහොමද ඒකේ හරි වැරදි දේවල් ටික මේ රිෆ්ලෙක්ට් වෙන්නේ කියන එක. මට පේන්නේ කියන එක. ඒ අනුව කොහොමද මං එතන අඩුපාඩුවක් තිබ්බනම් හදාගන්න කියන එක තමයි මේ රිෆ්ලෙක්ටිව් thinking and reflective writing වලින් කරන්නේ. so එතකොට දැන් අපි කියන්නේ ඉන්ට්‍රොඩක්ෂන් එකේ අපි එදිනෙදා වැඩ කටයුතු වල එහෙම කරනවා. මම අර එක්සැම්පල් එකක් කිව්වේ අපි කාට හරි කතා කරොත් සමහරක් වෙලාවට මොන හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් ගැන කතා කරනකොට ටිකක් harsh විදියට කතා කරොත් පස්සේ අපිට හිතෙනවා මම ඒ කතා කරපු විදිය හොඳ නෑ. next time මම එහෙම කතා කරන්න හොඳ නෑ. ඒ වගේ. ඊට පස්සේ අපි කාගේ හරි අයිඩියා එකක් පිළිගත්තේ නැත්නම් එහෙම හිටපු ගමන් ආයි මට හිතෙනවා පස්සේ නෑ මට ඒකට කැමති වෙන්න තිබ්බා. අර ඒ වගේ. එතකොට ලියපු ලියුමක් වුණා. දැන් ඔන්න හිතන්න සමහරක් වෙලාවට මොන හරි ඉෂුව එකක් නිසා ඔයගලන්ට පෝස්ට් මැටීරියල් හම්බෙලා නැහැ. හරි මොන හරි ඇතුලේ ඉෂුව එකක් නිසා කට්ටියක් එකතු වෙලා හොඳටම කම්ප්ලේන් එකක් ලියනවා. ලියලා සබ්මිට් කරලා බලනකොට එතන වැරද්ද තිබිලා තියෙන වෙන කොහේ හරි. එතකොට ඔයගලන්ට හිතෙන අපරාධය අපි මේක කම්ප්ලේන් කරේ. අර ඒ වගේ next cycle එක අපිට improve කරගන්න පුළුවන් එහෙම හිතපුවාම. so ඒක තමයි මේ reflective thinking and reflective writing වල basic idea එක. හැබැයි අපි දැන් academic writing වලට එනකොට academic purposes වලදී අපි මේක use කරන්නේ අපේ process එක improve කරගන්න. හරිද? දැන් අපි examples විදිහට ගත්තාම day school එකක් හරි lab activity එකක් හරි ඒ වගේ දෙයක් මේක දැන් academic writing එකක් නේ. මේක දැන් අපි අපේ learning process එකේ තියෙන එකක්. එතකොට අර day to day කියන දේවල් ගැන reflect කරනවා වගේ නෙමෙයි. එතකොට අපි academic process එකේදී බලනවා අපි උදාහරණයකට දැන් day school එක ගත්තම අර අපි steps වගේක් කිව්වනේ කලින්. එතන මොකක් හරි activity එකක් අපි identify කරගෙන ඒක ගැන reflect කරගෙන යනවා. එතකොට ඉස්සෙල්ලාම අපි බලන්න ඕනේ day school එක ගත්තනම් දැන් example එකේදී මම කිව්වේ මොකක්ද එතනදී හරියටම උනේ කියලා බලනවා. example එකට ගත්තේ අපි course material එක කියවලා නැහැ කියලානේ. එතකොට course material එක කියවලා නැහැ. What was the effect? ඒකේ මොකද්ද මට තිබ්බ බලපෑම? I didn't understand the lesson. මට පැහැදිලි නෑ. අර කියවපු අයට පැහැදිලි වුණාට ඔන්න මට පැහැදිලි වෙන්නේ නැහැ එතකොට. එතකොට මම එකෙන් ඉගෙන ගන්නේ මොකද්ද? මේක කියවලා ආවනම් මට පැහැදිලි වෙනවා. right? then ඊළඟ day school එකේ මොකද කරන්න ඕනේ? action එක මම කියවලා එන්න ඕනේ. නේ? අන්න ඒ විදිහට තමයි reflection එකක් අපි academic environment එකේදී ප්‍රයෝජනෙට ගන්න. ඇත්තටම මේකේ whole purpose එක අන්න ඒ දේ කරගන්න එක තමයි. right? so hope you understood. එතනින් අපි යමු. so did you all read this? මේක example එකක් ටිකක් ඒක ටිකක් English advanced තමයි. මම පොඩි එකක් හොයලා LMS එකට දාන්න පුළුවන්ද බලන්නම්. before the test. Specific activities were shared out amongst members of my team. They're talking about a teamwork. So what happened? Initially, the activities were not seen as equally difficult by all the team members. Team members didn't think that the activities were difficult right at the beginning. The cooperation between group members was doubtful because of this feeling of unfairness. So they thought that it is rather unfair because the activities were not equally distributed among the members. So many studies have demonstrated that cooperative learning experiences encourage high achievement. So they have given the reference. Now, mind you can cite references in your reflections, right? In your academic writing. Finally, now what happened finally? Our group, their experience was that now, right? Our group achieved a successful outcome, but we realized that to improve the process, now they are trying to learn through their experience, right? In order to improve the process, we perhaps needed a team leader to help when activities were being distributed. In future, now that is what they are going to do in the future. Group work on the course, I would probably suggest this. During the exam, you can't do that. When it was an online activity, we asked them to cite, but we do not expect citations during the CAT exam, right? So, but you must learn that it is one component of reflective writing. Anything else? Right, okay. All right. So that was earlier we were talking about this cycle, Gibbs reflective cycle. Now we are trying to follow this cycle when we are writing a reflective journal. So this was introduced by American sociologist and psychologist, right? Way back in 1988. So what's the purpose? The cycle encourages people to think systematically about their experiences in specific situations. Now, what is our specific situation? The learning environment. So we are trying to think systematically. Now, we we discussed that we do reflections during our day-to-day life, but this situation is different, right? We are trying to do it in a very systematic way in a specific situation called our academic environment. So in this cycle, we will find 5 steps. The reflective cycle. So this is the cycle, right? You have a description, feeling, evaluation, conclusion, and action. So it is described here. Description means, as we said in the example, we think of what happened and what were you thinking, feelings. Then we move on to feelings. What were you thinking and feeling? And then we evaluate what was good and bad about the experience. And then you go to analysis. What sense can you make of this situation? And then conclusion, what else activities were shared among the members of the team, right? And then you talk about the feelings. What were you thinking? And what were you feeling? The activities were not seen as equally difficult by all team members. So the team members felt that activities were not properly distributed, right? So evaluation. What was good and bad about that experience? Activities were not equally distributed. So cooperation between the group members was doubtful because of this feeling, right? So it's very clear. And analysis. What sense can you make of this situation? So by giving this citation, they say many studies have demonstrated that cooperative learning experiences encourage high achievement. So they believe that the group members believe that cooperation among the members would have given better results. So what happened finally? They achieved a good outcome, right? I'm sorry. But we realized that to improve the process, we perhaps needed a team leader to help when activities were being distributed. So they thought that if there had been a team leader, right, then when they analyzed it, they thought if there had been a team leader, they could better distribute the activities. So both these things are included in those sentences. What else could you have done? Oh, by appointing a team leader, activities could have been fairly distributed. And finally, in future group work on the course, I would probably suggest this. So as the final thing, action plan, it arose again, what would you do in the next cycle? I would suggest to appoint a team leader, right? So that is how the reflection, the cycle goes. So this is the theoretical part behind reflective writing. And this is, since you have the PowerPoint presentation, now you can do this activity again and again. That is good for your learning, but in the exam, we will ask you to just write the reflective journal. We would give you an activity, name an activity. Based on that, you just write your reflection. So further about the importance of writing reflective journals, the process of writing forces us to deal with the ideas in a formal way. So in a systematic way, we are going to think of our ideas. It leads us to deeply examine what we are thinking. Just rather than passing the things, we will deeply examine. It helps us to clarify our thoughts and identify gaps in our understanding. So if you take any kind of reflection, for example, it helps to identify the gaps in our understanding and also in our actions. Now, as I said in the day school experience about reading the course material, so it helps to identify the gaps. Written accounts allow us to see our progress as our learning expands. Now, I told you about progress reports in projects. So why do we keep a progress report? After proposal presentation, we have progress 1, progress 2, progress 3, like that. For each and every step, we keep a document, written account, right? So then we can see the progress as our learning further expands. A written record is also useful in revision of what we have learned and experienced. So when there's a written record, it is always useful to revise our experiences and what we have learned. So now let's directly look at writing a reflective journal, how we are going to write it. So as we said, reflection is a useful process. It helps you to learn from your experiences. and demonstrate your ability to think critically and analyze rather than just describe the things. And finally, reflective writing will emphasize how you will apply what you have learned all the time. How do I critically reflect on a topic for my assignment? Now, imagine for the assessment, right? Let's see. Questions act as prompts to get you thinking. Therefore, you might find it useful to reflect on your topic by formulating some relevant questions. Now, remember earlier we had some questions. We asked what happened? What was the effect on you? So, how did you improve? That kind of set of questions you need to have, and you need to ask yourself certain questions. So, when you find answers for the questions, your reflection will be completed. How do I critically reflect on the topic for my assignment? So this is a set of questions. What ideas are focused on this tutorial or reading? So if you have been given an assignment, right? What aspects did I like and why? Now take, for example, a day school or lab or practical. What ideas are focused on this? What aspects did I like? Now take, for example, this session on reflective writing. So what aspects did I like and why? What aspects you did not like and what's the reason? Do I agree or disagree with these theories? Now we talked about Gibbs cycle. You can just think of, do I agree or disagree with this cycle? How can I link the theories or ideas to my experience? Now, you will not be able to tally all these questions into the same or one learning experience, right? But this is a set of questions that can be used to develop a reflective writing. Then, about the same activity, how can I link the theories to my experience? How might someone of another culture or socioeconomic group relate to these theories? Those are some advanced questions. You don't have to think about those things. How can these theories, ideas help me to develop my learning and practice? Like that, you can have a whole set of simple questions, right? Basically, what was good about it? What happened? What was good? What was bad? So, what do I do about the good things? What am I going to do about the bad things? How am I improve the practices? How am I going to fill the gap? What would I suggest to improve the next cycle? That kind of structure. These are again some points about reflective writing. This writing should not involve merely describing something that happened. You are not just describing what happened inside the laboratory. Or it does not mean pouring out everything you think and feel in a totally unstructured way, right? You have to have a structure format in writing this, not just writing about everything what happened during the day school or everything what happened during the lab activity. Okay, reflective writing requires a clear line of thought. Very clearly, you have to think of it. Use of evidence or examples to illustrate your reflections, and you need to take an analytical approach. Remember, in the cycle, we found that there's a point called the analysis. You analyze what happened, what was good, what was bad, how do we improve. So, yeah, aiming to strike a balance between your personal perspective and the requirements of good academic practice and careful thinking. So, in a reflection, you cannot just write all your personal feelings, but you need to critically analyze the academic environment and the personal perspective. Now, if you take the same example of, about the day school and not reading the course material, one may say, okay, yes, I did not read the course material, but it should not harm me. The teacher is expected to read out everything for me. So why didn't he read it? Why didn't he explain it? And why didn't he expect us to read the material and come to the class? So if you have to read it at home, why do they have the lectures here? That kind of thing you can't write, okay? So you may be thinking it that way, but in a reflection, you can't write it that way. So you have to analytically present it. Maybe you can suggest, okay, I could not understand actually because I didn't read the material. A better solution would be to read the material at home and come to the class, but still the teacher would have helped me with describing the difficult things, although I have not read. මම පොත කියවලා ආවේ නැතත් ටීචර්ට තිබ්බ ටිකක් මට එක්ස්ප්ලেইন කරලා දෙන්න. මගේ දෙයක් රිෆ්ලෙක්ෂන් එකේ ලියන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Rather than just writing what comes to your mind. Okay? Right. So now we have come to the end of it. So this is the important part. You are aiming to strike a balance between your personal perspective and the requirements of a good academic practice. So you are analyzing two ends, right? Your personal thinking and the good academic practice. Then finally, we are going to summarize this. Developing a perspective or line of reasoning can be called as a reflection, demonstrating that you are well informed. So is criticizing usually not accepted in journals in general? Not really. Criticizing is accepted. So that is why we say the analysis and then the action. Now remember in the cycle somewhere, if we go back to the cycle, here, evaluation. So here comes the feeling. So if you feel bad, if you felt bad about it, in this evaluation, you can criticize, right? And here in the reflection also we found it. No, where is this example? Initiated cooperation that's unequal difficult by. So here, feeling of unfairness, in other words, is a criticism, isn't it? Cooperation between group members was doubtful. So group members were in doubt because they felt that something unfair has happened. So it's a mild criticism over here. So you can always criticize and give reasons for that. Right? So we were right at the end. They were just a few points about it. Showing that you recognize that situations are really simple and clear cut. Writing about the link between your experience, practice, and your reading. Writing in an appropriate style. Okay. Anything else? So that's all about reflective writing. So get ready to write your reflective journal at the exam. So actually don't worry too much about it because now I have been discussing all the theoretical components here. But what you need to do is, after taking all these things into mind, write a reflection about the activity. We will define the activities in the paper. In the question, we will say whether to reflect on your day school, or we will explain it in the question. So you, after reading the question, carefully think about it, take time to think about it, jot down in a piece of paper and structure it well, and then start writing. Let me, if you have any questions again, you can pose me. But can madam, එතකොට catch exam එකට එන්නේ? ඔව් ඒක තමයි මේ කියන්නේ. reflective journal එක තමයි එන්නේ. මොකද CAT2 එකක් අපිට කලින් තිබ්බේ නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ CAT2 එකක් අපි exam hall එකේ paper එකක් දීලා මුල cycles වල තිබ්බේ නැහැ. online activity එකක් කරේ. නමුත් ඒක එච්චර සාර්ථක නැහැ. ළමයින්ට අමාරුයි. ඒ නිසා තමයි මෙහෙම දෙන්නේ. word count ඔය එක define කරලා දෙනවා අපි question එකේ. හරි we will you have to read the instructions carefully. We will give the instructions. It's not going to be difficult if you go through the slide presentation, and maybe you can read additional material if you find. It's not going to be difficult if you follow the steps in the cycle. And
Madam, for the CAT2, is there any other question other than the reflective journal, or will it be only on reflective journal?
We mainly focus on the reflective journal. So I don't think there will be any other questions. So topic එක ගැන අදහසක් දෙන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. මේ වගේ මොකක් හරි activity එකක් ගැන ලියන්න තමයි තියෙන්නේ. past papers කියලා නැහැ. අපි topics ටිකක් කොහොමද ඉල්ල ලියන්න කියලා තමයි කියලා තියෙන්නේ කලින්. ඕනනම් මෙහෙමයි model එකක් විදිහට CAT එකේ දුන්නා වගේ මෙන්න මේ විදිහටයි question එක ඕගලන්ට එන්නේ කියලා idea එකක් දෙන එකක් LMS එකේ දාන්න පුළුවන්. We can just give a rough idea, but
අර මැඩම් මේ ෆස්ට් කැට් එකට මැඩම් දුන්නේ මොඩල් මේ පේපර් එක අන්න ඒ වගේ එකක් මම අහන්නේ.
just an idea. Was that helpful? Yeah. Like helpful?
ඔව්.
All right, okay.
මැඩම් මේක ලියනකොට මේ ටෙන්ස් එකක් තියෙනවද past tense එක එහෙම මොකක් හරි විශේෂ tense එකකින් ලියන්න කියලා එකක් නැහැ.
දැන් හිතන්නකෝ activity එකක් ගැන නම් ලියන්නේ අපි. Mostly එතකොට then unless I ask you to write about the CAT exam that you are doing right now, ඒක ගැන දුන්නොත් you have to write in the present tense, right? So we can do that also, right? Write a reflection on the test that you are doing right now. But ඒක හරියන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද things to learn in the future වගේ එතනට දාන්න බෑනේ. So always we try to reflect on something that has happened in the past. So mostly it should be in the past tense. Past and past participle, not in the present tense.
Okay.
So in the meantime, you have to use future tense, because in the reflection that I have given you, it says now in the next time I thought of doing this, and we will appoint, we will identify a leader. So finally you say in the future what you are planning to do. Then again you have to use future tense over there, right? So like that. There was no TMA. Then LMS එක ඔයගොල්ලෝ පාවිච්චි කරනවා මදි. හොඳේ. So you are not logging into the LMS, so that I have to always send you this email after uploading anything to the LMS. So that is a very bad practice. It's true that we do not too often upload things. This is a supplementary course, this LMS. But you have to have a practice of just peeping into the LMS, right? When I checked after 1 week, not a few days after uploading this announcement about the CAT exam, I checked. Many of you have not even seen that. I can check that whether you have seen it or not. මේකේ activities ගැන දීලා තිබ්බනේ. Right at the beginning I have given you an information sheet. So basically we have 3 day schools, 2 workshops and Cat1 and reflective writing. And at the end of the course, now the 2 workshops, of course, we could not plan because we lost some time during this non-academic strike, and this was supposed to be one workshop, right? Reflective writing, where you were expected to write journals within the class and all that. So after Cat2, now your assessments will be Cat1 and Cat2, that's all, for the eligibility. So when you get the eligibility, eligible students normally have to sit for the final exam. For the final exam, you will get a presentation and a report writing. Example, question and answer. I can give the example of question. Answer, of course. No, maybe I can upload one of the reflective journals from another source of information, maybe, but not the answer to the same question that I give, right? So that would be like spoon feeding. So you can get an idea about the reflection. Now I can see now only you are getting the interest, right? When you get this test and the journal writing and all that. Okay, that's good. What else? No TMA for this one. So this Cat2 will be your assessment. So if you have done Cat1, then Cat2, we will calculate the eligibility using those 2. And then if you are eligible, you can then do the final presentation and again write your report at the final exam. Presentation එකත් ගොඩක් කට්ටිය බලලා තිබ්බේ නෑනේ ඊයේ වගේ වෙනකන් until I send you the email. It was there for about a week in the LMS. So you can discuss anything through the LMS in the help wanted help given section. But you never do that, right? You did not answer the discussion topic either. You didn't answer that. Cat1 marks will give you, but these 2 Cat exams almost came together. There was a very short gap in between. So after the Cat exam, Cat2 exam will give both together. So in this subject, we have quite a lot of students, around 300. So it takes time to mark. And the thing is, yeah, I will try to upload things regarding reflective writing. One example, reflection and model question. So the cycle, if you best thing is to keep in mind the cycle. Usually the question contains a few guidelines. When I give you the model question, you can see. So it's not going to be very difficult if you follow these steps, right? What we have to do is when you get the question, you read it carefully. For example, if I ask you about lab activity, then you have to first think, you have to first identify the activity. So I'm going to write my reflection on this activity, on which date it happened, and where was the place, and who were the people involved. It's like a story, but it has to be academic kind of writing. Then what happened? How did I feel? So what were the good things? What were the bad things? And how did I feel and what did I do about it? If something good happened, if something bad happened, what was the analysis about that? And then what is my learning experience? That is the most important thing at the end. So out of all these reflections, what is going to be my learning experience? Then is there a gap that I have identified? And how am I going to address it in the future? What remedies am I going to find for this? So that's it. So I have is someone asked whether we can write lab reports in this manner, but usually my lab reports are similar to what have been taught here. Could be, but now lab reports, if you take, for example, each and every department has its own structure to write a lab report, right? So the descriptions will be, the procedures will be different. So don't get confused. This is not as same as a lab report. Some lab reports may look like this. So that's true. So forget about the lab report. You write the lab report in the way that you have been asked to write it. You follow the format given by the instructors to write the lab report, but you can completely, you can write a completely different reflection on your lab report. So for example, you say, now I have written my lab report and I have submitted my lab report. That is the description, right? So what happened? My lab report was not accepted. Why? I have not followed the protocols. So I have not written it in the according to the structure given by the lab instructor, right? A bad thing that could happen. Then what is your learning experience? Now usually you get a instruction sheet, right, to write the lab report and to conduct the lab experiment. So maybe most of the students sometimes they ignore those things and write on their own. So then those will be rejected. Then what is your analysis? This was rejected because I did not follow the structure of the lab report. So what is your learning experience? So there's a gap, right? So your learning experience would be, so in my next submission, I will follow the instructions given by the lab and submit a better report. So that is your reflection on the lab report. But your lab report should be according to the instructions given by the lab. Okay. It can be, their instructions may be similar to this. That also can happen. It's a good discussion. Anything else? දැන් මට කවුරු හරි කිව්වනේ සිංහලෙනුත් කියන්න කියලා. ඉතින් හැබැයි පොඩ්ඩක් මොනවාද effort එකක් ගන්න ඕනේ level 3 එකේ communication course එක. මේ communication course එකේ objective එකම ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ English language and communication develop කරන එකනේ. එතකොට හැම වෙලේම ඉංග්‍රීසි වලින්ම හැමදේම කරගෙන යන්න තමයි attempt එක දෙන්න ඕන. නැත්තම් English medium එකේ course එක කරන එක අමාරු වෙනවා. So my advice is don't try to find the easy way out. Right? දැන් මේක exam එකකට යන දෙයක් නිසා ඒක තේරුම් ගන්න ඕනේ නිසා සිංහලෙන් අහගත්තට කමක් නැහැ. ෆයිනලි දැන් එක්සෑම් එකේ තේරුම් නැති කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවනම් මම කියන්නේ එක්සෑම් එකේ අපි දෙන්නේ මොකක් හරි ඇක්ටිවිටි එකක් විස්තර කරලා ගයිඩ්ලයින්ස් ටිකක් දීලා වර්ඩ් කවුන්ට් එකක් හරි පේජස් ගානක් හරි ඩිෆයින් කරලා ඕගලන්ට මේ වගේ රිෆ්ලෙක්ටිව් රයිටින් එකක් ලියන්න කියලා තමයි දෙන්නේ. එතකොට හරියටම ඉන්ස්ට්‍රක්ෂන්ස් කියවන්න සමහරක් වෙලාවට අපි දෙන්න පුළුවන් මොකක්ද ඇක්ටිවිටි එක කියලා ඩිෆයින් කරලම දෙන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම වුණොත් ඒ ඇක්ටිවිටි එක ගැනම තමයි ලියන්න ඕනේ. මොකද පහුගිය ඔන්ලයින් සබ්මිෂන්ස් වල කට්ටියට ලකුණු නැතුව ගියා අපි ඇක්ටිවිටි එකක් ඩිෆයින් කරලා දෙනවනේ ලැබ් එක හරි මොකක් හරි කියලා. ඒගොල්ලෝ කැමති එකක් ගැන ලියනවා. එතකොට ලකුණු දෙන්න විදිය දෙනවා but අඩු වෙන්නේ හම්බෙන්නේ. then අපි කියලා නැත්තම් question එකේ if the question says write a reflection on any of your learning experiences, any of the activities that you have followed at OUSL, so then you have the freedom to write about anything, any activity, any academic activity I mean, right? එහෙම දීලා නැත්තම් අපි question එකේ දෙන activity එක ගැනම තමයි ලියන්න ඕනේ. word limit එකක් හරි word limit එකක් දෙනවට වැඩි exam එකේ ලේසි අපි pages ගානක් හරි එහෙම දෙන එක. මොකද word count කර කර ඉන්න තමාරුනේ. rough එකක් තමයි දෙන්නේ මොකද එක එකනාගේ writing styles වල හැටියට හරියටම අපිට define එච්චර එහෙමම වද වෙන්න එපා, don't worry too much about it, right? So we give this limitation word count or the page limit because some students keep on writing unnecessary things and just wasting time. So in order to structure your writing we would define it. So it would be a very structured. Otherwise ඔයගොල්ලෝ limit එකක් හිතා ගන්න බැරුව ලියාගෙන යනවනේ, which is of no use. So ඒක නිසා word count එකක් දුන්නොත් හරියට මේ word count එකද pages ගානක් දුන්නොත් හරියට මේකද කියන්නේ නැතුව but try to stay within those limits. යුනිවර්සිටි එකේ මං ඉන්නවා හෙට. එන්න කලින් පොඩක් මගේ ඊමේල් ඇඩ්‍රස් එකට ඊමේල් එකක් drop කරලා තිබ්බොත් ලේසි. මොකද මේ දවස්වල අපි exam papers print කරන නිසා සමහරක් වෙලාවට exam division එකේ වෙලාවක් ඉන්නවා. එහෙ මෙහෙ ඉන්න නිසා ඔයගලන්ට මේකේ එකක් හරි physical session එකක් we are trying to plan at least the presentation now. We meet the students right at the end of the course at the presentation. Before that, we can organize at least one session physically. We'll try to do that. Any more questions? So your feedback is always welcome. අපිට මේ course එකේ තව improve කරන්න ඕනේ හරි අඩුපාඩු හරි reflection එක maybe we can write a reflection at the end about the whole course, right? After the exams. So don't worry too much about this. Only thing is you have to carefully read the instructions and strictly follow the guidelines we give in the question. We usually have 3-day school, so you need more, right? But the attendance is very poor because we have about 300 students registered. But for a Zoom session, we get a low number. And one thing that I would like to know is now when we conduct day schools, if we are planning additional day schools, so can we take weekdays also? Mhm. But after 5, is it? Yeah, there are some going to jobs. Maybe we can get their choice through the LMS. And maybe we can arrange 2 sessions. And at the end of the course, let's try to have a short Google form to get your feedback about the topics we are covering. I feel that some of the topics are not interesting. So maybe we can replace them with other things. So if you have any idea about the topics that you think are important to include in this course, you can email or pass it through the LMS. Some subjects never hold any day schools, any updates. How can I say about other subjects? At least if you can name the departments or whatever, I can. 3410. I'm sorry, I cannot say anything about it, but best thing is to contact the department. EX3410, anyway, I'll take a note of it and try to find out it. Don't you have LMS access for this course? So why don't you? So what do you do in the LMS? Just let the coordinator know about your concern through the ask for the day school from the coordinator through the help wanted, help given section. Or you will find the email of the course coordinator, academic coordinator in the LMS. The coordinator is Dr. Ruan. Okay, I can pass the message on to him. And you can always send him an email. He's in this course team as well. He's contributing a lot to this communication course. Maybe he, I don't know. I wish that the IT department would fix the system that the messages regarding the labs would be sent as emails. You mean the emails that I sent to you? Similar to those? Automated mails. I usually do it through the LMS. Once I have uploaded the announcement, there's a system that yeah, we can send this message to the participants. So this request, right, either through the LMS or through an email, you can propose this to the relevant coordinator. Or any idea, do you have any idea about the learner support unit? Best thing is to send a request to the learner support unit. Mr. Sampath from electrical department is looking after that. He's doing a lot of developments to help the students. So why don't you send an email to him? Email, of course, you have to find from the website. Now, learner support unit always, I think, communicates with the students. That's what I believe. In a faculty website, you should be able to access the learner support forum. Just go through the website and try to find it. Anything that you ask them, they will try to accommodate. So how do you find his email address? Is you go to the faculty website, go to electrical engineering department, academic staff, and then find his address, email address. Even those things you have to learn. No? So when you when you all are undergraduates, right? In the EFIT program, we teach you how to get things done, how to organize your peer groups, how to get information from where and everything. And you need to develop those skills as well, not only the same site where the notice board is. Yes. So you have to go all through the website. But to be honest, some of our staff profiles are not updated. But you should be able to find the learner support unit if you do not find the teacher exactly. So the learner support is to assist the students. Always get in touch with that unit if you have any issue regarding your courses. If those things that you cannot get through your academic coordinator or the teacher, you can send to the learner support. Right? Anything related to this course now? Okay, then I will try to upload a model question to the LMS, but I will not be sending emails again, right? Before the exam. You have to be watchful and you have to see. I'm not sure when I'm maybe exam starts. CAT exam starts this Saturday, right? 26th, yeah. Let's see. So you go through the LMS and try to find these things. So can we wind up the session now if you don't have any problems, issues? And one advice that I can give you is try to write few reflections by yourself. Before the exam, you can try writing the reflections and try to improve. The best practice would have been getting some reflections from you and correcting and returning those things. But with this time schedule, it's difficult. But anyway, if you, while you are writing, if you need any help, you can ask. either through the LMS, or maybe you can come to the department or send an email, whatever. Only thing is you have to practice writing. Some of you may be able to straight away write it and give, but I'm sure most of you have to practice it. Okay, anything else? Okay, then thank you for your participation. So it had been a quite interesting session. Like you like communicated well, although it's through the chat box. Yeah, there was some other the Padlet link I had developed for the previous group. I will try to see whether I can use it for your group as well through the LMS. Okay, then I will be ending this session. Thank you very much.
Okay, madam. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you. I'll end the session.